and welcome to the Distinguished Twins podcast. I'm Kane.
And I'm Professor Anderson. I got a lesson I want to teach today about global stratification, so sit tight.
Sit tight. It's going to be a great one, I promise you. Professor Anderson got the facts.
Absolutely.
With that being said, I just have to compliment your get up today. It looks very nice.
Well, it's another day. Another day to be great.
Yeah.
And I was feeling pretty good today. Felt a little summery.
Summery?
Springish.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
The sun shining.
Yeah, sun shining.
We had some rain recently.
Yeah. So it felt good to throw it on. So
I like it.
Pop the threads on it and put it on.
I like it.
I mean, I like your combo as well, brother.
Thank you.
I made the mention to you. There's a lot of people who wouldn't buy that tie.
Yeah, it's
because they may not know how to put it together.
Yeah, you just got to know what you're doing. You got a little practice with it.
Bro, he taught me how to dress, so
Like a long time ago, I remember before I even had a job in corporate America. Remember we wore t-shirts, shorts every day, but I had this vision in my mind, like I knew I wanted to do business.
Right.
I knew I wanted to do business. At the time, we worked out every day. We were training. Mm-hmm. But I remember going to a store and I spent about $500 or $600 on collared shirts.
Right.
And, some ties and things of that nature. Mm. And because in my mind, I was like, this is what I want. And eventually I know this is what I'm going to wear daily. Right? So I prepared myself for that time when I would go into corporate America, because I didn't know. I was an entrepreneur as well.
Right.
That time when I would go into corporate America and I would, I wanted to dress the part every day.
Absolutely.
Right? It was like flipping the switch. So I manifested that. I prepared myself, way before I knew it was ever going to happen.
You sowed that seed.
Exactly.
And then you cultivated it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so
I like that.
Right? But see, this is what I was thinking, right? So as people, we've all been overwhelmed.
Yes.
Right? And this thought came from a conversation I was having.
Okay.
So you look at Nipsey Hussle.
Yes.
His clothing store with his brother, Sam.
Yes.
They're a small business, right?
Yes.
Whenever Nipsey transitioned to the spiritual realm,
yes.
Their small business overnight became a big business.
Absolutely.
Now, not by number of employees,
yes,
but the numbers they were doing.
Yes.
Numbers that a lot of retail stores wish they could do.
Yes.
Right? In this unfortunate instance.
Yes.
But the numbers they started to do, now there was a lot of complaining about, people who bought the merchandise, the shipping time. And to be honest, I could see their frustrations.
Yes.
But from my perspective, because I do business,
right,
I understood if I made a purchase, it's not going to be here for a while, but I understand supply chain.
There we go.
Right? With Nipsey's, his businesses, they were all integrated vertically.
Yes.
Right? And if you know economics, you understand the difference between vertical and horizontal.
Yes.
So all the operations from manufacturing to distribution to retail, it was handled all through his company.
Yes.
So when you have that ramp up in sales, now they were doing millions in retail because of his celebrity.
Yes.
And it is a great clothing line. We have some merchandise ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? You got to represent.
Oh, no doubt.
But what happened was, in my mind, I thought about how they started doing big business overnight. So essentially they were not prepared.
Exactly.
Nobody would be prepared for that. All right. We understand.
Yeah.
However, when I think about in your life,
yes,
right, and I want you to chime in as well on this. Whenever we've seen with our own eyes, this is what I think about. Whatever you want to be, you have to start being that today.
Absolutely.
Whatever you see yourself being, like they say, dress for the role that you want. However, you have to start being that today. So if you have bad spending habits today and you win the lottery tomorrow, you'll still have bad spending habits.
You will blow that money.
You will blow that money.
Absolutely.
We have seen people get life insurance policies
Yes.
and blow that money
Absolutely.
because they had bad spending habits already.
Yes.
So you understand that they weren't prepared
Yeah.
for that. Now, you've seen it to where, you know, someone older might be sick and then, you know, they pass and then his life insurance comes. So in that time, you know this is coming, but your spending habits were still poor.
Exactly.
So my thing is always stay prepared,
Absolutely.
right, for the unexpected.
You have to.
For instance, I remember people would say, you know, when I was done playing sports, I work out like an animal still.
Yes.
And they say,
Yeah, you
man,
do.
why do you work out so hard?
Yeah.
And I say, I stay ready.
Stay ready and you got to get ready.
Stay ready, you don't got to get ready. They're like, well, you're not playing anymore. No, I'm not playing, but
No.
I do have to protect myself.
You have to.
I have a family that I have to protect as well.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to stay physically fit
Yes.
because you just never know, right?
You never know.
You never know. So mentally, you always have to be prepared. Just how, you know, in this country, we have a military, even if we're not at war, which I can't remember when we haven't been.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever not been at war.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have reserves.
Yes.
Right? They're prepared in case it takes a leap.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's my point is stay prepared.
Yes.
For instance, and this is interesting to me because I thought about it. I'm thinking that we are in the age of plastic surgery.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of these people who are getting these physical changes, even though they have the physical change, for some reason they're still dealing with the insecurities that they had before it, the physical change.
Oh my gosh, that's
Right?
a great point. Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Great point.
I see women with fantastic, they're beautiful,
Right.
but this,
Yeah.
they never got this ready.
They never got that
They
ready.
never worked on this.
There's no operation that you can
Exactly.
perform, an overnight operation where you're gonna be satisfied.
And you said it was a quote you mentioned to me the other day about changing outside as opposed to the inside, like how long it takes, or it was something you said. How much effort it takes much more effort to change the inside rather than the outside.
Yeah,
Something you said.
it takes much more effort to change the inside than the internal than the external. The external, as you stated, you can easily go and pay for some surgery, and then overnight, something is enhanced, right? Something is augmented on your body, and now you have this, but at the same time, it still doesn't impact your internal. It takes a while to become a confident person and to truly feel like you are whatever it is that you aspire to be, right? And so, like you said, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. If you put in that type of work daily, whenever it came, you wouldn't be impacted by it. You would literally feel like it just naturally grew on you, right? However, people are paying money, they're getting these things overnight, and they're still insecure. And I believe that we see that quite often, and unfortunately, women are mostly, targeted in this, right? They're mostly impacted by it. And so you say, you see a woman get a procedure done, and next thing you know, she's showing it off every day. Whether it's on social media or what have you. And don't get me wrong, if you, like they say, if you got it, flaunt it, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, you can see that those same people who were born with those attributes, and they don't even feel the need to do that because they know what they have. I don't have to show you, you know what I mean? And so, unfortunately, again, that those insecurities aren't cured overnight, you know what I mean? And so, and it's funny when you say, to stay ready and so on and so forth and what you want to be. And, for me, I always knew that I wanted to have a business, right? And so the business that I have is a nonprofit organization, right? And so it's 2020. I started this in 2013, 2014, that I've had my nonprofit organization. And it's been kept afloat by my own money, right? We're 501c3 certified. We've been that for about 5 or 6 years now. But I've had people say, really? You're like, why do you keep it going? You know, why do you keep it going? Like, you're not doing much with it. And I wasn't able to do much with it because, of course, I got back into school. And I knew that I needed more. I needed to learn more about, you know, this issue that I'm trying to target. And so for me, I've kept it going. And I always knew that I would have an organization that would be a national organization that would be nationally recognized and nationally impactful, most importantly, to be able to help just an array of people, tons of people. And so for me, I've kept it there. And so, you know, I'm graduating, you know, I'll be finished up with my schooling this semester. And so once I'm done, then, you know, I'm going to go right into it. I've laid the groundwork. I have the foundation set. So for me, as a CEO or founder of a nonprofit organization, you know, I look the part. You know what I mean? I've put in the time educationally. You know, I've done the work. And so for me, I know who I am. I know what I deserve, and I know where my nonprofit organization will go. And so it won't be an overnight type of ordeal for me because I've already put the work in. So, and I'm prepared. Yes. I'm ready, right? Yes. I'm ready for the large donation. So just put that out there. So get ready. Right. That's right. Get ready for the viewers and the listeners. You will be called upon to donate to very sound, very sophisticated causes, which are extremely thoroughly researched. And so, you know, if you want to make an impact and be a part of it, we'll make it very easy for you. Just make a donation.
There you go.
And we've laid it out to where it won't take many workers, but it'll take a lot of good hearts.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
I love that. Like you said, you knew it, and you got it, and you kept it alive yourself because you knew you would get to that other end where you felt satisfied, like, okay, now I'm ready.
Bottom line.
And I love that.
Yes, sir.
That's great because I was thinking, you know, whenever, you know, I've had some ideas and I put them on the shelf and I was like, man, I'm not ready. So, you know, I went back to school, started doing my research, and now, you know, we're working on, you know, different plans, right?
Bottom line, yes, sir.
So, and I think that's awesome. But, you know, it's all about preparation. And we've spoken about that before. But another topic I was thinking about, because so you don't get so overwhelmed. This is very important, and we spoke about it, about mending relationships and these things. Are you giving people their roses,
man,
while they can smell them?
Come on now.
The point is, if they pass today, how will you feel?
Yes.
About, did they know that you love them? How much you love them?
Man.
Like, do you feel like you showed it, or did you always just say it?
Exactly.
Right? Did you show it? And you can become overwhelmed with the emotions that were in these regrets, like, man, I didn't do this, man, I didn't do that, because if you could have that person back, you would treat them right.
Absolutely.
Today.
Yeah.
But you didn't expect that,
man.
Right? You always have to be ready for the unexpected.
You have to.
So, you know, it being overwhelmed is a part of life.
Yes.
But you can mitigate, you know, the impact that it has on your life and knocking you off balance. Like, you look at somebody like Nipsey, like, I didn't expect to be impacted like that.
No.
Whenever he passed, I was like, and that was big, right?
Oh my gosh.
The only thing is like, eventually I felt like I would end up doing some type of business with him.
Absolutely.
Because he had that mind, and I felt like there was, some similarities there.
Absolutely. Many congruencies. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, I felt like, but that's the thing that I think about is, that opportunity to not be able to collaborate with someone like that.
Exactly.
And because, that's where my joy comes in is, from producing.
Yes.
And you saw what he did, and now you'll see what I'll do.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was like I said, that was on my mind. Even the last thing that I was thinking about was women. You see it a lot on social media, or even men. Oh, I want to be married. Oh, I want to be married. Oh, I want to be married. Are you preparing yourself?
Man, I mean, it's amazing because, I was thinking the other day, and I was just looking at social media, and I just wanted to say, like, listen, if you're not ready for marriage, do not go into it. Don't take that step.
No.
There is so much more to it than just, oh, I love you. I want to be with you forever.
And a ring.
And a ring. You know, it's so much more to it. I mean, marriage is literally work every day. It is not easy. And and you're literally taking two people from, no matter if you grow up in the same place, you're going to have some cultural indifferences.
Yes.
Period. And so when you come together, you have to learn how to compromise in every area. You're going to have to learn how to compromise, all the way down from, to how you squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube. Do you do it from the top? Do you do it from the bottom or the middle?
Yeah. Are you bringing all of it to the top so I don't have to do it?
Exactly.
Next time I use it.
You know, are you leaving cabinets open? Is that how you live? You know, how you grew up? You know,
do you go to sleep with dishes in the sink?
Come on now. You know, it's absolutely incredible. And the thing about it is you have to be prepared for evolution. You're going to evolve. That person that you married that day, they're not going to be that same person a decade from now.
Yes.
And so you have to be ready and prepared to say, you know what, I'm going to evolve with you. And I'm going to be understanding.
Yes.
You know, and I think for me, one of the toughest things for me was, in being married, is the closest relationship that I've ever had is my brother, right? So growing up, my twin brother, I'm with him every day. We literally lived together. We did life together all the way through college.
Yes.
You know, and even after, when we were playing professionally, I was living with my brother for a while. And so it's like, we know how to communicate effectively with one another. We know what to expect from one another. So it wasn't hard for us to be able to live together. We like a clean house. Like, when many people would visit our homes in college, they would say, oh my God, your house is immaculate. You know, and they would think that a woman lived there or something, but we kept our houses very clean and tidy. And so just even, you know, down to the cleaning or whatever, we knew even in our relationship, you know, certain things that we liked or don't like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm trying to go to sleep, I better not hear that TV, man. You know what I mean? Like, turn the TV down, be considerate, right? And so, and I had to make that type of adjustment, you know, just in my marriage, you know, with my wife, you know, as far as, okay, I got to turn the TV down. I'm a night owl, you know, and she's not, right? And so it was always, you know, Vince, can you turn the TV down? Vince, can you turn the TV down? It's like, oh my God. Until eventually she bought earplugs.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, you know, it just helps me to space out. I'm going to put on Family Guy or American Dad before I fall asleep so I could just kind of zone out. So, you know, but anyway, marriage is it's a whole different animal.
And you're talking about overwhelming.
Come on now. I mean, all the way down to, again, managing money.
There you go.
You know, one thing that my brother and I, we had down in college is when we got our scholarship money, wherever we lived, we would pay our rent up for half the year. Once we got our other scholarship money, we would pay the other half. We would put a credit on our bills. We would make sure, you know, and ascertain that, you know, these bills were not going to be an issue. Yeah. You know, and with the excess, you know, we had a little fun or whatever, you know. You know, we were starting, you know.
Splurged a little bit.
You know, riding, you know, some rims and stuff, whatever.
Yeah,
you know, but we were responsible.
Yeah.
But in marriage, you're going to get with somebody and you may be the financially responsible one or you may not.
Yeah.
And sometimes, at some point, somebody's going to feel like the child. Yep. Sorry. Because they're going to have to learn, you know, how to manage or how this person likes to manage money and which way is more effective. You know what I mean? And so, but you have to be, and one of the biggest things that I believe will destroy a marriage is ego.
Yeah.
Just like in our relationship.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't have a problem with being humble enough to say, man, I'm not me without my brother.
Yeah.
Period. There is no Vincent Anderson that you see today. I don't know what I would be doing. And so I'm humble enough to say that. You know what I mean? And I think that in marriages, you know, you have to be humble enough to say what your spouse has contributed to you. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have to have that humility and acknowledge it, right? It's nothing wrong with saying, man, you are the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah. If you feel like your spouse is the best thing that ever happened to you, right? And so ego.
And the ego is going to cause you to compete.
Bottom line.
You know, rather than, you know, like you said, that humility, it's like,
yes.
Rather than saying, okay, you are better than me at this.
Come on,
you did
man.
help me in this area. but a lot of people can't admit that, because they feel less than.
Yes.
And it's the ego.
It's the ego.
And it does not hurt you to admit those things, but.
Ooh, I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's that pride, that competition.
Yeah.
We're partners.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be competing.
No.
And you see that a lot with couples.
Yep.
There's a competition and so on and so forth. There's a superiority and an inferiority complex that comes in because of ego.
Yep.
And again, ego should be checked at the door.
Yeah.
We're partners. We love one another. If we have children, we got to look after them. They should definitely supersede anything that we have going on.
Absolutely.
Sorry, they should be taken care of. That's how I feel, right?
Yes.
And I've never really had a problem with that in my marriage, but at the same time, you'll hit those bumps.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that you brought that up. But it's like marriage is a
man. I'm just saying, as a man or as a woman, if you're speaking of, I want to be married and this and that, and I'm, big believer in energy. What is your energy like?
Are you preparing yourself, as you said?
I hate to hear people say, "Oh, when I get married, I'm gonna do this for my husband, do that for my husband, do this, do that, or
good.
or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that." If you haven't done it, you're not going to do it.
Bottom line, you can't
won't know
flip a
how
switch.
to.
No.
And you say, "Oh, stop treating boyfriends like husbands." How do you think you get to that point?
How do you think you get to that point?
You're not gonna flip this switch and all of a sudden become this, immaculate, just great, outstanding, performing,
selfless person,
spouse, right? It's like, it's not gonna happen. Are you that person today? And they will see that in you, and then you can take that step with them.
Yes.
There is no, well, I'm not gonna do this because I don't want. You're gonna play yourself.
And my thing is this: please think for yourself.
Yes.
If somebody loves you, if somebody shows that they're willing to sacrifice and do so many things for you, and you're in a relationship, does it really matter if you don't get the ring? Does it really matter? Because marriage, again, is a social construct.
It is.
All it is. Marriage is a business.
Yes.
Again, because assets are going to go here, there, everywhere when somebody passes away, whatever. You get perks and benefits, tax write-offs, whatever the case is, right? Yes. And so, like businesses.
Yes.
But aside from that, having somebody's last name, it's something that has been built up in our society.
Yep.
But again, is it something that's truly worth it if you're going to give someone an ultimatum?
How about this?
Go ahead.
That is the only relationship in life where people expect, a ring or this contract or.
Yes.
But you have people that have best friends. They're closer with their best friends than they are with their spouse.
Hello.
But did you and your best friend, did you guys sign a contract or exchange rings or anything like that?
Did you go to the courthouse and say, "Hey, this is my best friend.
Did you say
this
that?
is my BFF for life"?
Right? It's like there's a mutual respect. There's a mutual understanding. You guys, serve each other in whatever ways you do.
Boom.
And you love each other.
Hello.
So why does it always have to be, well, with this relationship, it better be this and it better be that, or it's not real, or I can't love you like this until this happens.
Right. You're
playing yourself.
You're playing yourself. It makes no sense.
Because in some countries, if you live together, you're married.
Literally.
You don't.
Even in America, when you live together for so long, it's common law.
Common law marriage.
You know what I mean? It's again, are you happy? Yeah. That's it. Does this person make you happy? And it's the 80-20.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Are you literally going to throw it away, give someone an ultimatum because they didn't marry you?
Yes.
They didn't go to a courthouse or stand before, a pastor or whoever and say, I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think that they're showing you that they do daily when they're helping you pay the bills, when, they're taking you out.
There you go.
You're going on trips and they provide for the kids and so on and so forth. So, again, just think, critical thinking, think for yourself and truly ask yourself, are you going to throw away the 80 because of the 20? And if the 20 is really that big to you because somebody didn't put a ring on your finger. So, even though I went the traditional route and, I married my wife, I was very young whenever I did it. And, being older, I understand, that it didn't change anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? It didn't change anything. We still had to learn and had to grow and so on and so forth. You're still going to hit roadblocks because, again, the evolution of, you know, the individual evolving into a new person in certain areas. You know what I mean? You never know, right? Yes. And so, again, it's, man, if you want to get married, you know, just prepare yourself.
I'm telling you, you won't be overwhelmed if you, you know, look at it from your own standpoint and stop living by
societal standards.
The meme standards.
Oh, the memes.
Everything you see on a meme is not facts.
And ladies, please, and I'm sorry, I'm not just trying to target the ladies, but anybody with a social media, you'll be able to verify that for the most part.
Yeah.
If a man wants to be with you, if a man is sitting back and he watches you post sappy memes every day about what you deserve and so on and so forth, and you want this and that, some men will prey on that. They're going to see that vulnerability. And you pretty much told them what you expect, and a man may just flat out tell you that he loves you just to mess with you.
Yes. Or
just to get whatever he wants out of you. So, again, just don't show your hand so much, right? If you meet somebody, you know, you date them, you know, just fill them out, let them fill you out, whatever the case is, and see where it goes. But don't just continue to show your hand every day and say, well, I'm dying for a husband, because really that's what you're saying. Yep. And then a man is going to say, you know what, yep, I agree, you know, you wife material. Then he may, you know, he's pressing on those buttons, you know, to get you to open up, and you may open up yourself to the wrong person, which it does happen, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to post that every day. If you want love and so on and so forth, you know, again, as stated by Kane, prepare yourself. Yes. You know what I mean? Prepare yourself. Respect yourself, and that same goes for men. If you want a wife, prepare yourself and protect yourself. You know what I mean? Don't be out here just running around messing with a bunch of women and thinking that a wife is just going to land in your lap, the woman that you deserve. It's just not going to happen like that. You know what I mean? Because you continue that same behavior. You're not going to flip a switch and say, you know what?
Thank you.
I'm done doing that. So, you know, just prepare yourself. If you want monogamy, do monogamy. Yeah. If you want something else, do something else. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you better than the next person because you're monogamous or not, whatever the case may be. Just understand, just ensure that your partner or your partners are aware of whatever relationship style that you prefer, whether it's polygamy, monogamy, whatever, bigamy, whatever. So, yes.
Very good. Thank you. And, you know, that all comes from being prepared for what you want. And be prepared to give what you expect.
Come on now.
At the same time. So
reciprocity.
Reciprocity, exactly.
And again, in any relationship, it's never going to be 50-50.
No.
And it's kind of like, you know, and I had a conversation with my wife recently about, you know, if I take you out on dates, if I buy you gifts, if I open your doors and all these things, you know, say these are the things that I decide to do. If you want 50-50 reciprocity, you're going to have to do that for me as well.
Absolutely. There you go.
You're going to have to do that for me as well.
Yeah, open my door.
Open my door, right? You know, go fill up my tank. You know what I mean? Fill up my gas tank. Go get my car washed, right?
There you go.
And so, but me as a man, that's not what I want. Yeah. I want something else.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you're still going to, you know, a fair person, in my opinion, would meet me there.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So it's never going to be 50-50. You're never going to do everything that the other person does.
No.
You know, you do have to come to an agreement of what you're going to compromise on and what you're not. And so, but yeah, you know.
I like that.
It's not going to be like that. So just understand what someone's love language is. Yep. You know, because some women do want men to do that for them, and some women don't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So understand what they appreciate and just, you know, hear them.
Yeah.
You know, just tend to those needs and communication, baby, and then not just communication but comprehension.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like on White Men Can't Jump when Rosie Perez tells Woody Harrelson that, you know, I want a glass of water.
Yeah.
So he gets up, he gives her a glass of water. You know, it's like, it's the whole thing with women, like,
seriously, like, you said you wanted water.
Right?
And I did that.
Exactly. You know, and it's be like, well, I forget the meme, how it goes, but where you know, they ask the woman, like, I don't know, like, are you mad?
Oh, yeah, and she said yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you mad? Or are you happy? Or are you mad or happy or something? Or something. They just say yes. It's like, women are difficult to understand from my perspective as a male. But at the same time, I know men can be complicated as well. We can be extremely complicated.
Yes.
But, it's fun. You can have fun with it. But again, at the same time, like you said, prepare yourself for marriage. Prepare yourself for anything that you want in life. But you have to start working now.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just flip the switch. And lastly, I'll say this. I remember when my brother and I, we were both working out, training to go pro. We had already done arena, but it was the UFL that called. And I remember when I wasn't working. I wasn't really working like that. But I remember they called both me and my brother for a workout. And we both worked out. And my brother did exceptionally well. I did well, but he did exceptionally well. You could tell he had been working. He had stayed ready. He put the work in. I'm talking about he was a safety, but they had him doing things that cornerbacks would do. Locking down NFL receivers. They couldn't get off the line, literally. These dudes played with Brett Favre, legendary Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Couldn't get off the line. And I'm just looking at my brother like, that's what preparation gets you, right? Opportunity and preparation. That's where success. They come together and they have a baby named Success.
There you go.
And my brother, he did it. He got the call. He had the chance to go, and I'll never forget it. He was prepared. He was ready, and it was fair. And I was his biggest cheerleader because he worked for it and he earned it. So again, preparation is key, and he made a lot of money. So, but yeah, in a short period of time.
Yeah, it was short. Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, man, I appreciate that little line there, but no, yeah. Once again, you can mitigate, the level of being overwhelmed if you prepare. And, we've learned that, obviously, through,
yes, sir.
Many different avenues in life where we have gone after things and, didn't get some things and we got some things. So,
exactly.
But, yeah, stay prepared, especially if you have a business or anything, prepare yourself for success.
Yes.
Because if you don't prepare for it, chances are you won't get it. So
that's just a flat out truth.
Be willing to put in the work.
Yes, sir.
And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Once again, to everybody who watch and listen, thank you so much. We love you. You have anything else you want to
add? No, sir. Yeah, okay. Again, thank you for tuning in as well. And again, continue to watch, like, subscribe. We're bringing a lot of new stuff this year. Happy 2020.
Yep.
We're bringing a lot of new stuff, new flavor, and we're going to, expand it a little bit. So
exactly,
be prepared.
But before Professor Anderson's going to go to the board. So our dialogue is done.
Yeah,
he's going to go to the board and he's going to give that lesson on global stratification.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So here I go.
Go.
So. As previously mentioned, I wanted to touch on a topic today. The topic that I would like to touch on is global stratification. Global stratification, just in a nutshell, is defined as the unequal distribution of resources and opportunities by country, in the world. So when you're talking about the distribution of those things, we're talking about in sociological terms, we're talking about core countries, which are what we would call higher income countries, semi-peripheral countries, which we would call middle income countries, and then peripheral countries, which we would call lower income countries. It just depends on what term you want to use. So when you're talking about global stratification and you're talking about those resources and opportunities, there are certain things that are heavily impacted by those things. And what I want you to understand before I go into it, what I want you to understand is that global stratification can be understood if we really just focus on the issues that we have here in America. And we look at the class issues that we have, the race issues that we have, the gender issues that we have, you'll really notice it. And so when you talk about global stratification, you're going to see great disparities in health and life expectancies. You're going to see education and literacy. You're going to see great disparities in those things. Population numbers, you're going to see great disparities in those things. And so, and what you see is well, when it comes to the health and the life expectancy in the peripheral countries or the lower income countries, what you have are you have higher populations. And so a lot of people say, well, if these countries don't want to be so poor, then they need to stop populating. Well, what you have to understand is that in these countries, they're very agricultural. And if you look at America, before America became industrialized, when we were an agricultural country, our population numbers for that time were high, right? It wasn't uncommon to see a family of 10, right? Whereas, the mom and dad have 8 or 10 kids, right? And so you need more hands to help. Also, with the life expectancy in these poor countries, the life expectancy, most of the children who do pass away, they pass away before the age of 5. And so what the parents do is they kind of just roll the dice and they take a chance and say, you know what, if we want a family of, say, we want 5 children, we're probably going to have 10 children because maybe, 5 of those kids won't make it. And it's a sad, sad reality. It's a true sad reality, but that's what we see. And so again, with more hands, they have more help in those agricultural societies. And again, educationally, what you're going to have, of course, is very low education. And so you can see the same thing in America where if we look at our impoverished communities, there's going to be very low education because you're not so concerned with knowing how to do math and reading and everything. You're concerned about survival. And so when you look at these countries, these people are concerned about survival. They need to learn how to go and fetch water from a well, right? Learn how to hunt, learn how to grow crops and so on and so forth because you have to survive. You have to eat to survive. So when you talk about that, this is where a lot of those countries, they're missing out as far as education-wise. And honestly, just as we see in a lot of communities in this country, when we look at the top and we're looking at capitalism, just how capitalism works in this country by the higher class exploiting the lower class, the same thing occurs on a global scale with the core countries, the higher income countries exploiting the lower income countries because they're rich in resources. A lot of these lower income countries are rich in resources, yet they don't have the money to industrialize. But we'll get into that. And so again, if you really pay attention to it, that's what you're going to see is the exploitation. And in this country, we don't have and when you talk about our poor, our natural resources would be our labor, our ability to work. That's going to be, and then also our talent. And so you see a lot of lower income communities in this country being exploited for maybe talent and their labor. And then with these other countries, it's their resources and their labor as well, in addition to their talent. So when you look at global stratification, it's an extremely intricate term, but at the same time, when you break it down, it's different ways to describe and explain why we have these disparities and imbalances with these countries as far as wealth and so on and so forth. And so one of the explanations is modernization theory. Modernization theory is going to be a theory that's more so championed and pushed by the higher class. Because what they're going to say is that, well, these countries, they continue to perpetuate their impoverished conditions because they're not willing to adapt and pretty much try to move forward with where we are in modern society as far as being technologically advanced and so on and so forth. Well, I think one of the issues that I take with that is that what we're saying is that because in America, we're in a technological era, right, where we're pushing, technology, so on and so forth. We're post-industrial in a sense, right, to where, it's not about the farming, the factories, jobs, and so on and so forth. And so here we are, right? But are we really living better simply because there's more money, more wealth, and there's a lot of technology? Are we really living better than, say, these societies where it's agricultural, right? It's an agrarian society where there's farming and hunting and gathering going on, where really in these societies, a lot of these populations, they respect the earth, right? They're taking care of the earth. They're not polluting the earth such as we are, right? And these post-industrial societies and so on and so forth. And in our industrial days, a lot of pollution came about. And we still dabble in that as well. But anyway, so with modernization theory, it really kind of, in a sense, it victim blames. It's easy to say, well, they're like that because they won't adapt. you hear that same thought process, say from the upper class or the dominant population in this country, when you see impoverished populations and they say, well, they're like this because they won't adapt. They won't assimilate into the American culture. They won't value education, you know. They won't save their money and so on and so forth, when the cultural values are different. They are different, but at the same time, these people are fighting for survival. And so it's easy to blame them for their conditions when we talk about, say, the bootstrap, right? The analogy, right? As far as pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, the metaphor. Well, it's just as the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, it's hard to tell a man to pull himself up by his bootstraps when he doesn't have any boots. And so when you look in these lower income countries, it's easy to tell these people that, well, you're perpetuating your own poverty because you won't get with the times and embrace technology when they don't have the money to. And we'll get into that as well. And then now we have dependency theory. When you look around the world and we look at a lot of the poor countries, the majority of these poor countries were at one point colonized by Europe. And so these are nations which were once colonized and they're still trying to get up. They're trying to get out from under that colonialism. But really at this point, they're so dependent on those European countries still. For an example, let's take India. India has one of the world's highest poverty rates, and it has a high population as well, right? And so India has one of the world's highest poverty rates, but especially as Americans, we're extremely ignorant when it comes to world history. But a lot of people may say, well, all that poverty comes because they have such a high population. Well, a lot of people will neglect or negate the fact that India was under British rule for almost 200 years. And just as enslaved Africans in America made America a lot of money, and one of the wealthiest nations in the world, by the cotton, through the cotton industry, the same thing happened in India. The Indian people were farming cotton. And what would happen is Britain would then take the cotton, and they had the money. They were industrialized. So what they would do is make clothes out of that and sell it back to India. And so that keeps India in poverty. They cannot industrialize. They weren't industrialized at the time, so they couldn't do anything with those resources. And so you see the same thing in the Middle East, right? When we're talking about some of these countries, how is it that these countries with all of this oil are considered to be peripheral or semi-peripheral countries? Shouldn't they be a core country? Shouldn't they be rich, right? But what happens is they don't have the money to industrialize. And so what happens is say, really, a lot of the Western powers will come in to pretty much get the oil. They have the machinery to refine that oil into gasoline and sell it back to these countries. So I would always ask my students, look at Saudi Arabia and look at Iran and Iraq, right? What's the difference? Saudi Arabia is filthy rich, right? Anybody who's ever traveled over there, you see some of the greatest advancements in technology. You see, these high-end cars, just taxis, right? Because they have so much money, but Saudi Arabia has the money and they're industrialized to where they were able to refine their oil into gasoline. They're very rich. And so, and you look at resource-rich, the continent of Africa, which is the richest continent resource-wise on the planet. But if you look at the most, the continent with the most poor countries, they lie on the African continent. And so again, now we're talking about, we're still talking about domination, and we're still talking about these countries who were once colonized, still being colonized, which, if you really pay attention, is going to come down to neocolonialism, which we'll get into as well. And so, matter of fact, I'll touch on this first. When you talk about neocolonialism, now, if you don't know what, I'm sure, I think it's kind of rhetorical, right, to go and talk about what colonialism is. I think everybody knows what it is. It was an invasion by Europe, coming in and committing mass genocide, taking natural resources, enslaving populations, having them work for pennies on the dollar to make Western countries rich, such as European countries, America, Australia, even now today, and well, they weren't necessarily, Australia wasn't necessarily, they were a part of it in a sense. Yeah, they were, because they came in and they were pretty much took over. But when you look at East Asia today, it's pretty much starting to develop and kind of pick up those same traits. You start to see the infiltration into the African countries to where their promises are to come in and help Africa to recover, but at the same time, they're doing the same thing that was done to Africa by the European powers. But anywho, so instead of military power coming in with, when you talk about neocolonialism, what it is the fact that, say, the United States will go into, say, these African countries, and what they're going to do is, it's kind of like, say, if you set up on the side of a road and you see people selling oranges or fruit, right? And they have a sign that says how much the fruit is. Well, with these countries, they have all these raw natural resources. They can't set up a sign and tell you how much it is. It would be like you stopping on the side of the road and a person has, well, for each pound of oranges, it's $1. You tell them, listen, whatever you're telling me that this is, I'm not going to give you. I'm going to give you 25 cents for each pound of oranges. That's what I'm going to do. And you're going to take it. And they end up taking it. And that's really what happens with neocolonialism is, in America, say the Americans, we go over, we take these natural resources for pennies on the dollar, and we say, listen, this is what I'm going to pay you for it. We're only going to pay you 25 cents for that pound of oranges, because if I paid you $1 for those oranges, for that pound of oranges, and I bought enough of them, you're going to get enough money and you're going to be able to industrialize. Once you industrialize, now you're a competition for me. I don't want any competition. So I'm going to ensure that you stay indebted to me. And once I do buy that from you, you still don't have enough money to allow your economy to function and continue to produce. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask me for a loan, and I'm going to loan you money. So now you're forever under my rule. I have economic power over you. You'll never, ever get out from under these loans. If you really want to see how ridiculous these loans are that these European and Western countries have over these African countries and other resource-rich countries, say like even in South America, go ahead and look it up. It's absolutely ridiculous. I forget the African country that's under this loan and they're under neocolonialism, but I believe yearly they pay at least 30 to 40% of their national income. They pay off. They pay into these loans that they have from these European countries. That's how they'll never get up. And if you really, again, if we're looking at America and we're looking at the world, it's a microcosm. Look at, if you know your history, look at Black Wall Street. Look at other African American communities which were thriving and booming, and they were becoming competition for the higher class white communities and white businesses. And so what you had was that with the help of the American military, these communities were bombed back into the Stone Ages. And that's what you're seeing in a lot of these countries, such as Iran and Iraq. You go to war with these countries, they have tons of resources. I believe it was a couple years ago, I was teaching a class, and I remember reading an article where it was either Iran or Iraq, they're so close, had made a deal with China to buy equipment to where China would come in and help them to industrialize, to where they could refine their oil into gasoline. It's not a surprise that shortly thereafter, and even now in Iran, what is it, 500 and something billion barrels of oil that were just found? It was a new oil field. 53 billion, barrels of oil that was just found not too long ago in Iran. And then next thing you know, America, bombs one of their more prominent figures. This always happens. America is not going to go to war unless there are some resources that can be had. And that's just the bottom line. Anybody who would say otherwise is being disingenuous. We have never gone into a war and not gotten something else out of the deal. And it's more so, again, imposing our will, because we have a big military, imposing our will around the world, and we're taking everything that we want for pennies on a dollar. And so this is what we have going on. And the racial inequality and the racial exploitation. We can look at it through a class lens. Absolutely, it can be looked at through a class lens. However, it's the same thing that goes on in America. When we're looking at the disparities in wealth and income and education levels and so on and so forth, health, access to resources, you're going to see the same thing. Can it be looked at through a class lens? Sure. A lot of people try to push that narrative to you, but it's going to be extremely disproportionate in who is impacted, negatively impacted by it, and who thrives in these systems. White countries around the world, European countries, so on and so forth. Are there some countries that battle with higher rates of poverty? Absolutely. By the majority, if you line them up, if you look at the more white-dominated countries, are they the ones battling poverty? No. If you look at the black and brown countries around the world, are they the ones battling poverty? Absolutely. Extreme poverty, to where people are dying daily because they don't have enough food to eat. And so, again, when you're talking about access to resources, if you look at it through a racial lens, you're going to see those same imbalances, and it's just the truth. These are facts. Anybody who wants to see the facts, please do email us. So again, when you're talking about global stratification, you're going to see those rankings, and you're going to see how each country is impacted. But again, as a microcosm in America, you can see that same blueprint, that same layout, and you can see, again, those same categories that were mentioned. You can see how people are disproportionately impacted. And so again, as always, Professor Anderson, I'm going to always ask the question, how do we balance the scales? When do we say, you know what, moral depravity doesn't fit us? When do we go and say, you know what, instead of giving you 25 cents for that pound of oranges, we're going to give you 80 cents for that pound of oranges? Can we do that? You understand what I'm saying? Can we make some progress there? Or can we give the asking price? Can we give the same thing? We understand what business is all about, to turn a profit. Because off of that 25 cents that I paid you for that, and then you're going to ask me for a loan, I'm going to give you 25 cents back. So at the end of the day, I'm still turning a profit. All I'm giving you is the interest. All I'm giving you is the tax. I'm giving that back to you in a loan, what I made off of the tax. So it's still, I'm turning a substantial profit. And you're still going to be impoverished, and you can see no future, which is why you have a lot of these countries, say on the continent of Africa, they don't want to be the man to where they're given the fish. They want to be taught how to fish now. A lot of these countries are refusing the resources. Some of these countries, they want education. That's what they want. Tell us how to get out of this. Tell us how to sustain our own economy. But again, you're not going to see the Western powers, especially in America, being so willing to say, you know what, we're going to teach you how to industrialize and build your society up. Because if we do, then now we're not as wealthy. Now we're not as powerful. Now we can't dump just ridiculous amounts of money into our military to continue to overpower the world. So with that being said, if you want any of these sources, or if you want to continue this conversation, please email us at distinguished.twins@gmail.com. So again, this is Professor Anderson. Hopefully you learned a little something about global stratification. Again, global stratification is it's an extremely big topic, but I wanted to focus on just a few points as opposed to teaching you an entire lesson that it would take me a week to teach in my typical semester. So with that being said, thank you.
All right, you got that great lesson from Professor Anderson.
Global stratification. Look it up. Do your own research. Again, if you want to understand a lot of what's going on in America and what's going on in the world, I mean, you can compare the two. You can see a lot of similarities. Again, capitalism in America extends far beyond our borders across the world. And again, capitalism does not work without the ability to exploit poor populations. Yep. And unfortunately, disproportionately populations of color outside of this country, for sure. So, yes, sir.
All right. And, with that being said, we will see you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.